Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castle Keeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video I am continuing my long-going series of character race spotlights for Castles and Crusades, and today's video is going to be Halflings. Uh, I apologize for the late release of this. Normally I release these at 6 a.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Thursday being the character class spotlight. Ran a little bit behind this past weekend, and didn't have a chance to do these. So this should go up in an hour or so. So just a couple hours late. So apologize for that if you're waiting on these to release at 6 a.m. The class video will go up on time for Thursday because I'm going to record it sometime today and it'll go up on time. So anyway, halflings. So I have to disclose out there that halflings is my favorite character race to play in any D&D and in any D&D game edition, uh, beginning with beginning with AD&D First Edition around 1979 or possibly 80, when we transitioned from playing D&D to Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. My primary character throughout all of the years that I played Advanced Dungeons and Dragons as a player, so really in my first AD&D campaigns, I played a halfling fighter thief who eventually became a halfling, you know, fighter thief acrobat. And then that character I carried all the way up through to, I believe it was like level 18 and 9. So level 18 thief and level 9 fighter. Um, my DM modified some of the cap rules and such, and that character actually survived so many adventures that were AD&D modules that were just at the top of the difficulty level. So not Tomb of Horrors. He survived Tomb of Horrors, but he never completed it. But From Against the Giants to the Vault of the Drow series, Demon Queen of the Web Pits, White Plume Mountain, the Lost Temple of Thurisden, the Ravenloft. All of these were adventures that this character had gone through and actually survived, and in many cases completed those adventures. So, yeah, I just had such a great time, and it is still my go-to race for any time that I'm playing a character in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So, without further ado, let's start taking a look at how Castles and Crusades deals with the halfling race. And this is based on the seventh printing Player's Handbook, which you can get for free on Troll Lord Games. So by all means, jump out there and grab a hold of this. The Player's Handbook is all that you need in order to play Castles and Crusades as a player. Once you have that, you're good to go and you can get the PDF for free. So, without further ado, let's start taking a look at the halfling in Castles and Crusades. So, here we go. Halflings. Halflings appear upon first sight to be small, well nourished humans. They share many of the mannerisms and habits of their larger cousins, but a closer look reveals they have large, hairy feet and rather wide eyes, displaying the temperament of wily farmers. Halflings are generally an agrarian people, preferring open pastures and lush farmlands to cities or other places crowded with tall folk. They get along well with most peoples, but rarely leave the safety of their homes and communities. Even when they do, it is generally only at the behest of others. Meticulous and prosperous, halflings enjoy good food, relaxation, and a quiet life. Halflings average 3 feet in height and have wide, round eyes and large feet, which are well padded and hairy. Halflings seldom need to wear shoes except in very cold weather. Long days in the sun gives halflings naturally light skin, a ruddy brown tan every summer. This their curly hair and their thick hands all fit their agrarian lifestyle like a well-worn frock coat. Most halflings prefer dull-colored clothing so they won't attract attention to themselves. But the wealthy or prideful wear finer, bright colors clothes to denote their status. Personality. Halflings are jovial, friendly, and hospitable, yet they prefer their own culture to those of others. They typically eat too much and develop paunches early in life. Indeed, to have a great paunch is considered a sign of good breeding and wealth. I'm certainly at the top of that status there. Normally, halflings eat often during the day. They start a day by enjoying a breakfast followed by a brunch, then lunch. This often precedes an afternoon snack of cake and tea to be followed by supper and then a late dinner. It is said that halflings can keep time by the grumbles and rumbles of a hungry belly. Halflings also work diligently on their farms, houses, gardens, fences, and other projects pertaining to their needs. Relaxing requires a lot of work, many halflings are wont to say. Um, Slowly, to anger, halflings prefer to settle disputes through legal means whenever possible, by appropriate compensation when necessary, and through other measures only if unavoidable. A halfling's desire for quiet and safety carries over to their personal lives, with only the occasional adventurous halfling leaving home to travel the world. A mystery to their brethren, these halflings often find themselves in the most unusual of escapades and adventures. These situations can reveal one of the least known qualities of halflings: a heart as stout as the strongest warrior and courage unflagging to the point of foolhardiness. Their racial affinities. Halflings are insular and generally prefer only the company of fellow halflings. Of the other races, halflings prefer humans most of all, for they do much business with them, and they find that human farmers and herdsmen often share similar values. They are also favorably disposed towards gnomes, whose temperament resembles that of halflings more than any of the other races. Elves fascinate halflings, but they are far too magical to be considered respectable. Halflings grudgingly admire dwarves, but find them a bit too gruff, hard headed, and clannish for their personal tastes. Halflings do not relate well to goblins and their kind, whom they passionately dislike. Environment. Most halflings prefer lush green lands with fertile soil, abundant water, and mild seasons, and they strive to dwell in areas far removed from the troubles of the world. Yet, the world is broad, and some must live in the proximity of other peoples and the troubles they create. There are halflings who make their homes and and coarser areas, of the world, including towns of even cities, though these halflings are rare. Halfling houses tend to be small and made of brick when built above ground, while others live beneath the earth in expansive underground houses built into the tops of hills and underneath large mounds. Their racial traits and abilities. Fearless. Halflings, for the most part, lead sequestered lives and are often considered naive. This is not entirely accurate. Halflings are not raised with fears and trepidation imparted to them by myth and fantasy, but are reared on tales of self-dependence and the overcoming of life's many hurdles. For either of or both reasons, halflings possess stout hearts and are not easily frightened, even in the dire circumstances. This trait imparts a +2 bonus on all saving throws against fear. Hide, which is a dexterity based uh, ability. Halflings are practiced at avoiding and the prying of eyes of others in outdoor settings. A successful check allows a halfling to hide, making him or her almost invisible. If a halfling decides to move while attempting to remain concealed, he or she can still hide, but will suffer a penalty to the check. At up to one half their movement speed, halflings suffer a -5 penalty to the check. At one half their normal movement rate to full speed, they suffer a -10 to the check. It is impossible for a halfling to move faster than normal speed while hiding. If a halfling is being observed, even casually, the character cannot hide. If the observers are momentarily distracted, however, the halfling can attempt to hide. This check, however, has a -10 penalty because the character has to move quickly into hiding. Moving silently, also dexterity based. Halflings, being naturally small and dexterous, can move as quietly as a breeze upon the summer morn. With the successful dexterity check, halflings can move silently. They can move up to one half their normal movement rate with no penalty to this check. For moving at one half of their normal movement rate up to full speed, the character suffers a -5 penalty to the check. It is practically impossible to move silently while running or charging, so the type of action incurs a -20 to the check. Dusk vision. Halflings, with their large and piercing eyes, can see in starlight and moonlight just as a human can at dusk. They retain the ability to distinguish color and some detail under these conditions, though everything is cast in shadows. They have no enhanced vision underground in torchlight or under similar conditions of poor illumination. Resistance. A lifetime of good food, when combined with hard work and self reliant spirit, makes for a healthy people. Halflings are more resistant to the ills of life than most other races, so they receive a +1 bonus to all constitution saving throws. Halflings typically will speak Halfling, Common, Dwarven, Gnomish, Elvish, Sylvan, and Goblinoid. They are small sized, they move at 20 feet. Their typical classes are Fighter, Ranger, Rogue, Cleric, Druid, and Bard. Their attribute modifiers are a +1 to Dexterity, a -1 to Strength. As Rangers, they receive a modifier of +2 to Conceal, +2 to movement to move silently. As Rogues and Assassins, they get a +2 to Hide and +2 to Silent. Um, Interesting that assassin wasn't mentioned as their typical classes, but they can obviously break from the mold. That would be an interesting character to play as a halfling assassin. So something I've never done. Might be interesting to do that sometime in the near future. So there we have the Castles and Crusades take on halflings. It is um, almost identical in many ways to the AD&D halfling, or even not the old school D&D or OD&D halfling, which was actually race as class, but certainly very, very similar to the AD&D halfling, other than the fact that dusk vision is not dark vision, and so they wouldn't have that advantage. But all of their other features, such as being able to hide and move silently in outdoor settings, is something that's very similar. So again, I hope you're enjoying these videos. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. if you have any questions or comments, if you're playing a halfling in Castles and Crusades, I'd love to hear, how that experience is going for you. And like I said, I'm preparing to start playing in a Castles and Crusades game. Um, and as a player, and this is starting to convince me that maybe I will go with a halfling character, and I might very well go with a halfling assassin. That would be really, really interesting to do. Haven't done that before, and so that might be you know an experience to do. That's something that I tell players all the time, and I tell other GMs and DMs all the time is to keep on broadening your experience in any of the games that you happen to be running or playing, and just keep on trying new things, and you'll be surprised at things that just jump out at you and stand out for you as memorable moments in this great hobby of tabletop role playing games. So without further ado, let's move on to the next video that I'll start setting up. And I hope you enjoyed this. This should go up in a few, about an hour, hour and a half or so. And then look for 6 a.m. Thursday, the character class spotlight, which is going to be the knight. So thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day.